The next form of organization is the joint Hindu family business. Now, this kind of organization you will find only in India. Why? The reason is because it is based on Hindu Succession Act. To understand this, how is the formation? You require minimum 2 members to form a Hindu undivided family. Okay, that is a Hindu family business. If you want to start, you need 2 members of the same family. So remember, you cannot have your friend coming together with you to form a Hindu family business. It has to be someone like your sibling, your father, or maybe your grandfather to be there to start this particular kind of family business. There is a need that there has to be some ancestral property, because that would be forming the capital of the family business. Okay. Now, what is the liability here? See, when a Hindu undivided family is formed, so let's take an example. We have this Mr. RJ. Now, RJ has a sibling MJ. Okay. So here we have RJ, MJ who are together. They have their father and mother, and they also have their grandfather. So it is a grandfather who is the head of the family. Always remember, in Hindu undivided family, the eldest member of the family becomes the head of the family, and when it comes to Hindu family business, he becomes the Karta. He is known as the Karta. Okay. The other people, that is you, your sibling MJ, your parents, they will become the co-partners. Okay. So the Karta would have a unlimited liability towards the family business. It would be others, that is you, your mom and dad, and other family members who are the part of this Hindu undivided family. They will have limited liability. The liability would be limited to the extent of the capital they have contributed. Okay. Now, who has the control? Obviously, you would have seen in your houses, it is the eldest member who controls the family. So here also in the business, the eldest member who becomes the Karta, he has the full control. When I say about control, he is the person who starts the business, makes the business decisions, and he would be having the final say in the decisions. Next, the continuity. See, now the continuity is not a problem in Hindu undivided family, because let's assume if the grandfather dies, in this example which we are taking, it would be RJ's father who would become the Karta. Okay, so this is how the continuity exists in HUF. Now, I would like to discuss this particular case with you. What happened was, earlier the woman had no say. So it was like, suppose if MJ is a girl, so you have RJ has a sister sibling. Okay, if she gets married, she would no longer be part of this Hindu undivided family. Okay, now suppose if she remains unmarried, she will be the part of the family, but she will never be able to become a Karta. Okay, so even let's assume MJ is elder to RJ. Okay, so after the death of both the parents, MJ should ideally be the eldest person, so she would be taking up the role of Karta. So earlier this was not allowed, but then after Hindu Succession Act, there was an amendment which was made wherein the daughters had a say in an ancestral property, and post that the Supreme Court came up with this ruling in Mrs. Sujata Sharma and Shri Manu Gupta, wherein it was ruled that now because they have a say in the ancestral property, so they can now actually become the Karta if they are the eldest member. So this is more particular in families where they have 2 daughters. Earlier what used to happen, if there were husband and wife and they had 2 daughters, and if both husband and wife expire, there would not be any Hindu undivided family left as per the law. But now the law has changed, and even those 2 daughters can carry on the business. Okay. Now, can minor become a member? Luckily in HUF, because the membership is by birth, so a minor can easily become a member of a Hindu undivided family business. Okay. Now remember, as I was talking about the Hindu Succession Act, now this amendment was made in 2004. So this amendment was passed by a bill, and it is known as Hindu Succession Amendment Bill 2004. Okay. Now I would like to speak to you about these 2 systems. We have the Dayabaga system and we have the Mitkarsha system. Okay, now Dayabaga system is followed in West Bengal. This was earlier to the Succession Act, that this system was followed in West Bengal, and it allowed both the male and the female members of the family to be co-partners. So they, in this Dayabaga system, it was already the provision that both the male and the female members had equal rights. However, the other form which was followed in rest of the India, that is Mitkarsha family, it prevailed and it didn't have that equal rights. Although remember, after the amendment being passed, even Mitkarsha gives equal right to both the male and the female members of the family. Now, let us understand what are the merits of having a Hindu undivided family business. See, the first merit is having effective control. As I told you, it is the Karta who would be having the absolute decision making power, because he is the eldest member and he has the control on the family business. So he would be able to make quick decisions, as he doesn't have to go and consult to other members. He is the person, if he sees a business opportunity, he can just make a decision whether to approve it or whether to take it or not. Okay. The second is continued business existence. As I discussed earlier in features, if something happens to Karta and if he dies, the next eldest member becomes the Karta and the family business never gets affected. Okay, so as I just said, Karta's death never affects the continuity of the business. Now, the liability of co-partners is limited. So that is a merit, because the members have limited liabilities and it is limited to the share in business. So if something happens and if the business goes insolvent, their personal belongings doesn't get affected. So they don't have to contribute from their personal income or personal assets. Now, increased loyalty and cooperation is one of the important merits of Hindu undivided family business. Why? Because see, all the members belong to the same family, so there is a greater coordination and sense of loyalty among the members. They have the pride of growing the business together, and then there is a better cooperation among members because they have been staying together in one family since their birth. So they understand each other well, and hence this kind of form of business is very popular in Hindu joint families. Okay. Now let's understand the demerits. The first demerit is limited resources. The resources which are available to the business is first your ancestral property, which is there. Second, limited capital. Again, compared to other forms of businesses, it is the goodwill of the family which helps in getting the resources. Hence, many a times the Karta and the co-partners contribute and the capital is only limited to that particular contribution. Getting loan from a bank at times is difficult because of the limited goodwill they would be having in the in society, or maybe it can happen that because the business is new. Let's say if they start the business freshly, then the banks will not be able to give them loan unless and until they give a collateral. Okay, so that is the reason they have limited capital. Then they have unlimited liability of Karta. So if suppose the business goes insolvent and they have to pay the creditors due, the Karta will have to sell his personal assets to satisfy those liabilities. Okay, now what happens because of that? The Karta will not be interested in making bold decisions. He will not take risky ventures which will have more profits, because he will be scared that he will have to sell his personal assets. Again, he has the one who has the burden of managing the business. So many a times it happens that because of the burden, because of the stress, wrong decisions are taken, and he might avoid taking bolder decisions also. Now, dominance of Karta, generally what happens, if someone has dominance in the family, so he would be the person who would be trying to be bossy, which would not go well with the co-partners. Also, he can misuse the power. Now, if he is trying to be too bossy, or if he keeps on making decisions which other co-partners, that is the other members of the family, doesn't agree, there is a possibility of conflict. Limited managerial skills. See, Karta is again just like sole proprietorship, jack of all trades, master of none, because he is doing everything. Although there are co-partners who would be helping him, but still he's the sole decision maker and he would not be an expert in doing so. Because of this, the business gets affected if unwise decisions are made by Karta. A real life example, see, in India, if you take any kind of business, let's take an example of Godrej Consumers. The Birla family, they all started as a family business, and only then later, as the years passed and as the company grew, they became and they took a form of company. But earlier all these were family businesses which now have become a household name. Okay.